we are moving ahead. And a great deal of that reason is because of industry and academia working together, especially to educate and inform Congress. And so it was a real pleasure and privilege to talk to you a year ago. And unless somebody cites evidence to the contrary, I would say your message to Congress a year ago, that's the cause of all of this. So let's give everyone a round of applause. So I did put that on, and Greg did cite that we are part of the whole of government effort. That was called for by PCAST, another nonpartisan industry, academia. It was that council. And Bill Van Villian, again, I'm just tickled to death here to follow folks like that because MIT co-chaired both AMP and AMP 2.0, and they called for this whole of government effort, check mark there, but they also called for the National Network for Manufacturing Innovation, and they really called for another thing that AMP 2.0 focused on was the image of manufacturing. And again, unless somebody gives me evidence to the contrary, the fact that everything that you've been talking about is manufacturing today, I'd say perhaps that has had an effect. It's not all manufacturing. It's the change from, it's not the 4Ds, the dirty, dark, dangerous, declining. Manufacturing is what happens in the four walls. It's a necessary evil. That was a view that pervaded much of Washington for many, many years. And people are now thinking, no, this is really important, not because it has a huge jobs impact, but an economic impact. But this was the first of the PCAST reports because it has an innovation impact. So that to rebrand, if you will, manufacturing as part of, you are the beginning of manufacturing. You are educating the people for the creative design process. So manufacturing from an enterprise standpoint is the ideation process, the design, the development, the systems approach to finally making it and making great products and providing services that are outstanding for their use, and then have a sustainable life cycle and have minimal environmental footprint. That is the manufacturing of tomorrow. That's what many of you are teaching very, very well at your universities, and that's why I have never, ever not been optimistic about the future of manufacturing. I came to you today to update those slides, and I'm actually using 15% of the slides from last year because I thought they were so good, but actually, no. It's because they are the foundational point of NNMI, and that says something, that we have built upon what we heard from the workshops that universities helped us frame. But I wanted to use some of those slides for the NNMI basis, what that's coming from, because it's really important. I read news articles today that completely misget what an institute is all about. That, oh, it's a federal thing to create jobs there in some little thing. It's one winner and everyone else that wasn't selected is a loser. That's not it at all. So I did want to touch a bit on the basis of that, the intellectual basis, and then go into the design development authorization. That was the exciting thing that happened in September and then December, and then where we are headed forward. Well, so a few of the background slides I presented last time. This is the change. A lot of perception, oh, we don't manufacturing anything anymore. Well, we're still tied as the world's largest manufacturer. This notion that we because of productivity, that's the reason why we're losing people. Nope, over our entire modern history, while productivity increased over sixfold, we had a stable 18 million manufacturing workers, and then something happened. And it's not because of productivity enhancements, and it's not because of recession. Manufacturing is very sensitive to the business cycle. It's something happened, and I point to this. Go back over a century. We've always run a positive trade surplus in this category called advanced technology products. We've always run it. And then it swung to an unprecedented, well, period. Unprecedented that was a trade deficit, but then a $100 billion trade deficit in this category. So these are the things that we invented here, perfected here, and now they're made elsewhere. And it's not that loss. It's not, oh my goodness, if you buy a flat panel display, it was invented here, but it's not made here. It's not a focus to Well, we'll reshore those jobs of today. The point that PCAST focused on is if you aren't involved with the state of the art, if you are not producing these things, then you lose out on the cycles of innovation. So the argument that they said that the U.S. needs not an industrial policy, but an innovation policy. The reason why advanced manufacturing is a special role is because if you're not making these advanced technology products, it's really going to be hard for you to be the innovators for the next technology. So if you're, the NNMI is about the jobs of the future, not trying to onshore the jobs of today. So that's the basis of it. And going back, this is not the simple case of labor cost. Many of these things have very low percentage labor cost. The reason why they are there and the reason why they get sticky are hubs. Once you have the hub for something, I look at our friends from Notre Dame. You know, why is the worldwide hub for orthopedics in Granger in north side of Indiana? You know, of the $35 billion a year industry, why is $30 billion there? And it's because the hub is there. So when you lose the hub, you lose the innovation ecosystem, you lose the supply base. So this is the point about the goal of NNMI. I should say that at the outset. Isn't an institute. It's about the manufacturing hubs of the future, and it's about the ecosystem for sustaining those hubs. So I won't read the report. I wanted to show you that it wasn't one report, 2 reports, but now 3 PCAST reports about manufacturing. The 2011 one set the basis for the policy, for an innovation policy. The 12, the moment that was released, the president called it for AMP, Advanced Manufacturing Partnership. Great, we have an issue, what do we do? They came up with the recommendations. That is the basis for NNMI. That was recommended in the 12 report. And then in the 14 report, this was, all right, now specifically, what are the details that we can really move this forward? So all of these are forming the intellectual basis for NNMI. Let me grab one other slide of this. Of that report, it's focused on the missing middle. You are the envy of the world in universities. Our national labs, Dave Danielson is an awesome speaker and intellectual leader. We are very proud of our national labs. We continue to lead that. The private sector, they own the product development, tremendous amount of R&D. The problem that PCAST focused on was the missing middle. It's not to spend more federal dollars, public dollars, in the 4 to 7 TRL space, technology readiness level. It is to create the bridge. It is to build a space where now an individual company can't do it themselves, but can we create a space in this pre-competitive area where it makes economic sense to de-risk these technologies. So I was just asked during the break, well, why are these planned to be sustainable, self-sustaining? If we do it right, the institutes and the hubs are funded by industry because we've created this efficient way to partner with academia. So the goal, no single company can do it. The goal is to create that space that industry and academia can work together like never before. So this initial network was proposed in 12 because of that PCAST report. He asked us in the agencies, work together as a team. Let's start trying these things. Now, my career is in industry. Any of you that with your laboratories, you learn so much by doing, and that's what we did. We started off with a pilot institute as the president asked for support from Congress, and that's the start of NNMI. So while we were doing the pilot, let's now roll up our sleeves and do the design. So what we did was we held a 6-month RFI, 21 magic questions. We had 5 public workshops. The reports are all online on our website, manufacturing.gov. We had 1,200 voices. It was equally split between industry and academia. That was what informed us for the framework design, the preliminary design document. That's on our website, that's on the White House website, and I'm grabbing this one diagram there to show it is the partnership that PCAST called for. It is the partnership between industry and academia and government. The role of government is to create the space to address the market failure and to use arguably one of its most important powers, the ability to convene. The ability to convene companies that are competitors or in different areas with the right rules that they can collaborate effectively and legally and efficiently. And did I mention it's there to work with academia? So there's one other piece in that dark green. The dark green in the lighter green is it's a shared use facility. It can't just be many little think tanks around creating papers. Not that that's not important. It has to be big enough to really move the needle, borrowing David's point. So that's why the smallest possible institute is $140 million. And we've been working together as the pilots to do that, the smallest possible to achieve the critical mass in a technology area that's this defined, as narrow as you can make it, is $140 million. And that is at least half needs to be co-invested by the owners. Who are the owners? The owners are the consortium that runs the institute, not the federal government. So the goal of the federal government is to create the patient capital to invest in a 5 to 7 year period while this gets going. And if it's providing value to industry, it's going to be sustainable. If it's not providing value to industry, it needs to adapt, change, merge, or close its doors. I really like that little bubble diagram because did I mention this is something I hear a lot? It's not about the government. The government is not trying to get in the business of doing research. The government's role here is to create that space to work with arguably the most important resource that we have, our academia. The second slide out of that is it's more than applied research. That's got to be right. So this is why if it's not partnered with, if not one, many universities, if not being run by a university, it's got to have the research right, check mark. But wait, there's more, as the late night TV guy says, you know, pocket fisherman, but wait, there's more. It has to put it together into something that industry can really use. So it can't be a unit technology. No company is going to bet the farm. I think that's a mixed metaphor, isn't it? No company is going to bet their company on a little unit technology if they don't know the supply base isn't there, if they don't know it's all put together in the system. So the whole package in the supply base, it has to have ready access for small and mediums because that's where the outside source of these innovative ideas are. And then not to compete, but to complement education and workforce. It's not competing with community colleges or educational institutions. It's the partnering. So the idea here is this node of the network. It's the place where if there's a technician to a CEO and they want to learn about this technology, we have the natural place to go to. So that's the whole thing about the design. You just went through the whole design review. Everyone got it, nobody nodded off, so A+ there. This is where we've been doing on the development. So moving ahead, we've been doing these pilots, as was announced. The first pilot was on additive manufacturing in Youngstown. I put these up not to read them, but to show you a couple things here. One is that each of the metrics, this is the initial one, but it is the 70, it's the best we can do looking under the couch cushions, to find the monies under existing budgets and authorities. And so these are all as small. We would like institutes to be at critical mass for success. But the reason I like to show these slides is that this one at, is there a North Carolina State University in anywhere? That's a school, right? Yes. He did ask me, you know, make that point. But I love all of these because every single one of these. They were the second, and they showed that, yes, you can have an educational institution lead a consortium. It can be a company, it can be a not-for-profit. The goal is, though, that they set up the consortium, and this is the initial consortium. It's all about the partnership. The third one was on digital manufacturing and design innovation, and that's in Chicago, and very shortly, you'll be able to see they're renovating nicely their amazing new facility downtown Chicago and Goose Island. But they attracted, for the 70, they had a $240 million total match with their consortium. Sorry, going backward. This is on lightweight and modern metals, and they just had their grand opening 3 weeks ago in downtown Detroit, Rosa Parks Avenue. Not that it's a coincidence, but I visited. This You look out the window and you see the Chicago River and you see this huge facility, lots of space. You look out the window and you see the Detroit River in this huge space, and that's not a bad model at all. They're just walking distance from Wayne State University because I walk there. So the fifth one is advanced composites, and my goodness, it's been moving so quickly. I haven't even updated this one, but the composites one was just announced. The sixth is some of you are actually very involved with this, so you know that it moved down to the down select for the finalists, but integrated photonics. And just to show you the metrics of what it is, so moving forward, during this period, because of the very strong response from industry and the proposals have been amazing. They've really been amazing, and it showed the appetite for doing this, addressing the missing middle. So the president had a major policy address, and he set the vision, and he asked us put together the plans for 45 institutes in 10 years. So that is our goal, and since that time, Congress has authorized the National Network for Manufacturing Innovation. So on September 15th, it passed the House of Representatives. It passed unanimously. I put this slide together because you may have heard that it's a little polarized these days, so just a smidge. And I'm very proud that this was not seen as a Republican thing, a Democratic thing, an Obama thing, an industry giveaway, but it was 118, completely 50-50. Republican and Democrat, about creating something new. And this is very difficult to do, of creating something very different. So the leadership of Tom Reed and Joe Kennedy they were the lead sponsors, and then Sherrod Brown and Roy Blunt. But it was rolled into the omnibus, and that's why it was signed on December 16th. So a great part of that was how members of Congress were informed by the stakeholders. And there are two stakeholders here, industry and academia. So thank you for educating our public policymakers. What does RAMI say? Well, RAMI creates some new things. We've actually been operating as an interagency team. The White House made that call, worked together, and the Secretary of Commerce announced our office. We've been working together as an interagency team for the past 3 years now. But now in terms of RAMI, we're now official. So we still have other things that we're doing, but what they've created is three things at its simplest level. One is Congress has authorized the Network for Manufacturing Innovation program. So it creates the authority to convene and support a network. This is very important. Without this ability, we would only have pilot institutes, and we would not be able to have a convening and a building of a network. So these very much were DOD or DOE or lead agency. So this is extremely important. The second one is that it recognizes that under administrative action, we have to do the calculus here of what is an idea that is needed by industry that has an immediate current agency need, And so because the federal investment here is for advancing a mission need in that space. It's not any misuse of funds. So the domain here of these pilot institutes were all what the government needs right now. RAMI changes that. RAMI says it doesn't matter what the government needs right now. Moving forward, it is what the private sector needs. So it creates a process for solicitations. We are at a transition point of solicitations that we do not pick the topics. You propose the topics. I want to say that again. You propose the topics. So the competitions that we will be holding would be on open topics. And then finally, the third is that there is a national program office responsible for developing, carrying out the program, coordinating, supporting the network, and we are privileged to have lots of reporting requirements now about NNMI. So those are the three things that are in RAMI. It is not an appropriation bill. It is an authorization bill. Some people have pointed out, well, where's the money? And I just point back, I'm extraordinarily proud of this is a key milestone on authorizing NMI. So what is in the President's budget? At the event last year, this was before the State of the Union, and a whole lot of things were not public. This is coming after the State of the Union and after the President's budget was released. So what we built in are the plans, and there's a slide coming up here. I wanted to add one more thing. Those are the three big things. It has a few requirements that I wanted you to be aware of. One is that the financial is to a person as legally defined. So that is to the person legally defined as the consortium. It does not prescribe anything, and that is a good thing. So the models that you've seen with the pilot institutes, that would be the same awardee sort of group that we have. I forgot one other thing. RAMI also, for that first one, all of the pilot institutes now are full institutes. The network is formed from the existing pilots, plus all of the new institutes that we will be creating. Second one is that open process. And I wanted to, it is an open process to take on any proposal. Now this will be much more difficult for us to do, but it's not about how easy it is for the government to execute a program. So this is really important because we've gotten lots of questions from organizations saying, well, I'm really interested in doing this. And can you give us advice? And the answer is no, we can't give you competition advice. But I see lots of people trying to squint and say, we want one of those. We don't know anything about that. And we don't have the industry for it, but we want one of those. Okay, well, make an application. But the rules just changed. So instead of trying to fit what the government needs right now, this is creating the pathway for figure out what makes sense for your region, your industry, your universities, your industry needs, and put together that package of any topic. The same roles apply here. What's in a package? You have to clearly have the technical case, you need the business case, and you need the partnership case. Up until now, you had to have those three things, plus the technical case, business case, and partnership case had to be aligned with what the government needed. It is a different world right now. The third point, I hope I'm not belaboring this, but I'm identifying this to ask you for help. It asks for outside expertise. This is scary to some people. I think it is a terrific thing. The National Science Foundation, I'm sorry I couldn't join last night. I was attending to other work, but I understand it was a great discussion with our NSF director. NSF does that all the time. You know how NSF works with panels from industry and academia. That's different for other agencies. We need that. And they clearly can't be panels of biased folks. We need the help to source panels. If we're going to have a competition on any topic, we need panels with career government experts, non-politicals, career government experts, plus experts from academia, plus experts from industry. And so I look to you as leaders to help us not only with academia, but with industry for this. And then transparency and accountability, conflict of interest, and lots of reporting. So that's on the authorization, and really think it's a milestone year because of the Revitalize American Manufacturing and Innovation Act, or RAMI. So where are we going ahead? So this is the start of a network. We have the 5, as announced by the President in last year's State of the Union address. At that time, there were just additive and power electronics, and he said, we're going to do 6 more. And it takes a lot of work and timing, but what you'll see here is that that pledge for 8 is fulfilled. So with the 5 awarded and the 3 in the pipeline. So I gave quick slides for each of these. The next one is integrated photonics, smart manufacturing, that's what David spoke about, and hybrid, flexible hybrid electronics are the 3 that are announced. What is in the President's budget request is 7 additional ones. Now, here's the transition point. To get us going, look at the bottom first. We will have selected topic competitions aligned with agencies. So the Department of Defense will be announcing one more topic. This is something that matches what NNMI is about, but there's a defense need. Department of Energy will be announcing 2 more, and this may surprise you, the Department of Agriculture will be announcing 2 more. And you might think, well, Mike, what are they? And you know, we do things. I really like how David mentioned that all of this is with a lot of informed input from the private sector. So if you were to say, what are those topics? I can't tell you those topics, but remember David's slides just half an hour ago? He listed the topics that they've been having workshops on, and he explained how they've had RFIs and workshops and public comments on why these are important transformative effects. So if you wanted to look at those, you're probably the smartest group in Washington right now, so I'm sure you can figure these things out. And the USDA has also had some workshops and some interesting biomanufacturing topics. Very important. So the 5 are in the budget request. Let's go up above. To get us going, the Department of Commerce. We will never have a topic that NIST selects because we like the topic or it's aligned with for the Department of Commerce, we will be running the open topic competitions. We're starting from ground zero. We're figuring out how to do that, and we cannot do this solicitation until we have FY16 monies appropriated. But that's the start to what's been termed is the white space in between what agency needs. And then if you read further, if you're a policy wonk and you read the budget further, you'll see that there is a proposed fund for all future institutes to build out the network of 45. And the plan at this stage is all of those future institutes will be run by the interagency team on an open topic process. That's not to say Commerce will be running all of these. We are an interagency team, and so if proposed by industry is a topic that is fantastic, it's aligned with DOD, then another authority that's important in RAMI is the ability to transfer funds to other agencies. And so if we have an open topic, it's the best of the best, that's what we'll go with. We would transfer that over to DOD with all of the funding, and it would be run through one of the program offices. But that is the transition point that that's been proposed by RAMI, and that's what's part of the 16 budget and this roughly $2 billion mandatory fund. So that would achieve what the President called for in a network of 45. So I gave you a lot of slides. 15% of them were retreads from last year for a reason. And I'm just closing on, it's not about companies and the jobs of today. It's really about the jobs of the future and your students of the future. I think it's profound that it was mentioned that the theme last year was all about manufacturing. The theme this year wasn't artificially about manufacturing, but I'm told it was all of that thread. And that's what the theme is. It's not about the old school manufacturing, but the manufacturing, its inspiration to innovation to making. I'm going to close with really the President addressed the National Academies now in 2000, I think it was 2010, where he said our real goal is to move from a country of consumers to a country of innovators and makers. That's the goal of NNMI, is to help bridge the gap between industry needs of today and the industry of the future. So thanks very much. I'm Mike Molnar. I'm with the Advanced Manufacturing National Program Office, and I guess we get to answer some questions now. Thank you.